The courtroom is quiet, except for the faint sound of a single tear falling on the highly polished wooden floor. On one side, Cody Brown, his face white, his eyes shifting like a man who's lost control of everything he used to rule. Across from him, 4 women. The wives who once referred to him as their husband, their leader, their defender, now looking at him as if he's the enemy. Love is not on trial today. He is. The judge's gavel slams once, echoing like thunder. Case number 3427, Brown versus Brown. The words hang heavy in the air, almost unreal. A family turned against itself. But beneath the legal documents and custody arguments, something darker brews. Secrets, lies, betrayal. The kind that doesn't just break a marriage, it breaks faith itself. And as the first witness takes the stand, one question fills every heart in the room. How did a love built on faith turn into a war fought with lawyers? The air in the courtroom feels thick enough to choke on. Christine's hands tremble slightly as she folds and refolds the same tissue in her lap, her eyes darting toward Cody, who refuses to look back. The man who once promised eternal unity now stares straight ahead, jaw tight, his wedding ring long gone. The judge adjusts her glasses, and for a fleeting second, it's as if time freezes. Years of shared dinners, children's laughter, whispered prayers before bed, all now standing trial under the sterile glare of courtroom lights. The first to testify is Mary, her voice barely above a whisper as she's sworn in. She looks fragile, but when she speaks, her tone carries the weight of 1,000 sleepless nights. He made us believe we were equals, she says, her words slicing through the quiet like glass. But we weren't. We were pieces on his board, moved when he wanted, discarded when we didn't obey. The crowd simmers in quiet. Cody's attorney stands, objecting, but the judge clamps a hand over him, shutting him down. This is more than a divorce trial. It is a reckoning. Mary's testimony drags the room into the past. Scenes of shared smiles, the laughter of children playing in wide Utah fields, and the slow, invisible erosion of trust. She recalls the night Cody came home late, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't hers. He batted aside her questions with scripture and charm, telling her, "Love is eternal, Mary, but some hearts open faster than others." She thought him at the time. That's what faith does. It blinds you softly before it shatters you. The courtroom is hushed in pin-drop silence. Christine fidgets uncomfortably, her lips compressed. She remembers that very night, because that was when she too started to sense that something was a little amiss. Cody was now more frequently visiting Robin, staying longer than was his usual pattern, even bringing her small gifts, defending her in almost every argument. What had once been unity felt like favoritism. "We didn't want to see it," Janelle whispers to Christine under her breath. But it was always there. The tension between the wives is complex, equal parts love and rivalry, guilt and solidarity. When Robin finally takes the stand, the entire courtroom shifts. She's dressed simply, hair pulled back, eyes glistening with tears. "I never wanted this," she begins softly. "I wanted peace. I wanted family." But her voice trembles, betraying something deeper, fear or guilt, or maybe both. Christine looks down, shaking her head. The lawyer steps closer. "Mrs. Brown," he asks, "did you or did you not have private financial accounts with Mr. Brown, separate from the family trust?" Robin hesitates. The pause lasts just a second too long. The courtroom stirs. "We did," she confesses at last, "but it was for the children." Murmurs spread throughout the room. Christine's eyes blaze with incredulity. "For the children?" she says softly under her breath, almost inaudible, but picked up on the microphone. "You mean for yourself?" The judge pounds his gavel, demanding order. Cody fidgets in his chair, his eyes icy but unyielding. He is aware that this is only the start, the breakdown of his empire of faith and domination. Cross-examination is ongoing, and now it's Cody's turn. He approaches the stand with the swagger of a man who is certain he is still in charge. "I did everything for them," he states. "I gave them homes, children, a community. I kept them safe." His lawyer nods approvingly, but the prosecutor smirks slightly. "Safe?" she echoes. "Or under control?" The question lands like a thunderclap. Cody's jaw tightens. He leans forward. "You don't understand plural marriage," he says. "It's about unity, faith, obedience." The word obedience doesn't sit well. Christine's eyes narrow. Mary's lip trembles. Even Robin looks away. The prosecutor presses further. Mr. Brown, did you ever threaten to withdraw emotional or financial support from any wife who disobeyed your choices? Silence. The air is thick with tension. I led my family, he finally says, voice subdued. Sometimes strong leadership can appear like control to individuals who don't know what they're seeing. Christine stands up from her seat before the judge can intervene. Guidance? She snaps, voice cracking. You call it guidance when you tell me my love for my children is rebellion? When you silence me in front of our church? Her voice echoes through the chamber, raw and shaking. The judge warns her to sit, but no one dares interrupt. The emotion is too real, too volcanic. Cody's mask begins to slip. For a moment, he looks less like the confident patriarch and more like a man cornered by the ghosts of his own decisions. The camera of every journalist in the room catches that flicker. A man realizing that control, once lost, never comes back. Janelle takes the stand next, her voice calm but heavy. She brings evidence, bank statements, property transfers, and a series of recordings Cody never knew existed. He said he'd leave us with nothing if we ever turned against him. She says quietly, he said the church would shame us. The community would isolate us. The judge listens intently, expression unreadable. Cody's lawyer tries to dismiss it as bitterness, but the damage is done. The image of Cody as the spiritual protector has begun to crumble. Robin sobs softly, torn between loyalty and conscience. The courtroom feels less like a legal proceeding and more like an exorcism of 20 years of emotional control. As the day draws to a close, the judge adjourns for the evening, but no one moves. Christine stays seated, staring at the empty witness stand as if still hearing echoes of her own pain there. Cody gathers his papers mechanically, avoiding eye contact with everyone. Outside, cameras flash, reporters shout questions. Christine, is it true he threatened to take the kids? Mary, do you regret joining the family? Robin, did you really hide money? None of them answer. They pass through the mayhem, all in private contemplation, all reliving memories that they would wish to unlearn. That evening at the hotel, Christine stands at the window, observing rain run down the pane. She holds a small locket, in it a photograph of the 5 of them grinning on a warm afternoon years before. It is a lifetime ago. She speaks softly. We were meant to be eternal. Janelle sits on the other side of the room, typing up notes for the next hearing. Eternal doesn't mean unbreakable, she says, not raising her head. It means that sometimes we just clung too long. Christine nods, tears glistening. The phone rings. A text from an unknown number. You think you know the truth, but you don't. Not yet. She stares at it, chills running down her spine. Someone is watching. Someone still loyal to Cody. She turns off the phone, heart pounding. The next morning, as the women prepare for day 2 of the trial, Robin is nowhere to be found. Her lawyer claims she's unwell, but Christine doesn't buy it. Unwell, she mutters, or hiding something? The courtroom fills again, tension thicker than before. Cody sits alone, for the first time looking unsure. The judge calls the session to order, and before the next witness can be sworn in, a guard walks in with an envelope. For the court, he says. The judge opens it, her brows knit together. This, she says slowly, changes everything. Dawn crawls across the city in a thin silver haze, the kind that feels more like warning than renewal. Christine hasn't slept. The photograph with the red ink message still lies on the table, its edges damp from spilled coffee, and the words, "You think he's the villain?" loop in her mind like a curse. Down the hall, Janelle whispers on her phone to the prosecutor's office about this last-minute hearing. Mary stands at the window, pacing, whispering prayers she doesn't believe in anymore. The hotel smells like anxiety, cold perfume and burnt toast, too much fear trapped between walls. When they emerge outside at last, the courthouse is already choked with cameras. Truth is less audible than headlines these days, and people crave drama, not justice. Within the court, the judge appears tired but calm. We have a long day of it, she tells them, and I advise people to expect surprises. She speaks in a tone that is as prophecy. Cody sits stiff, face chiseled from rock, and for the first time, Christine has no idea if he's angry or just shattered. The prosecutor starts off by calling a new witness, an IT consultant who is contracted to track down the anonymous uploads of the financial information. The witness is a young woman with serene eyes who says that the files originated from more than one source, relayed through levels of encryption. But one IP address stands out. It belongs to someone inside the courthouse network. Gasps ripple. The judge orders discretion, but it's too late. Everyone is staring at everyone else. Cody smirks faintly, whispering to his lawyer, "Told you, one of them wants me gone for good." Christine feels a chill slide down her spine. The prosecutor holds up a screenshot of internal emails to the press, signed "Just Eternal Faith." Mary covers her mouth. That was the name of their old family forum, the one where they used to put up devotionals. The coincidence strikes as intentional. Janelle furrows her brow, whispering, "Someone wants to bury us all together." The judge calls the room to order, but the tension is feral now. Liv, the prosecutor, rests on the lectern. "Mrs. Brown, in your private mails, did you ever go under the name Eternal Faith?" Christine shakes her head. "No," she declares stoutly, though uncertainty flashes. Years ago, she may have used it once for a family newsletter. But before she can explain, Cody laughs softly, bitterly. "See? Even she doesn't recall her deceptions." His voice cuts through the room like ice. The judge admonishes him, but he continues speaking. "You all believe I'm the monster, but you don't understand what they did behind my back." He gestures toward the wives' table. "They wanted to break up the family years ago. They just needed a reason." Christine's pulse thunders. "Reason?" she shoots back. "You call keeping our children safe a reason?" Their voices reverberate against the wood panels, transforming the courtroom into a confessional stage. The judge finally bangs her gavel. "Enough!" But the emotion can't be unspoken now. Outside, thunder rumbles, even though the forecast promised clear skies. Reporters lean forward, smell blood. The prosecutor resumes, showing a timeline of messages exchanged among anonymous sources. Each file coincides with major fights in the Brown household. The night Robin moved in, the week Christine threatened to leave, the day Mary found the hidden accounts. It's as if the truth itself had been taping all along, holding its breath for someone to hear. The storm outside has continued unabated since the trial recessed, lightning illuminating like flashes of camera bulbs across the courthouse windows, with each boom of thunder stripping another veneer of serenity from the people confined within. The morning brings the scent of wet concrete and adrenaline into the air. Christine exits the elevator carrying a folder of personal notes, part prayer, part ammunition. She doesn't feel like a wife. She feels like a witness subpoenaed into a battle she never signed up to fight. In the courtroom, Cody stands alone at the defense table, waiting for his attorney to arrive. He seems smaller today, the venerable patriarch reduced to an aging man tormented by the reverberation of his own voice. The judge appears, robes flowing, eyes piercing. "Let's get this done quickly," she says. "Truth's running low on patience." Cameras buzz softly. The prosecutor starts by calling an unexpected witness, a one-time accountant with Cody's church organization. She's frightened, holding a rosary, shaking in her voice. "He told me to transfer funds," she says. "He said it was for missions, but the names on the accounts were his wives." Gas flicker through the gallery. Cody's knuckles whiten on the table. "You're lying," he mutters, but the woman holds firm. "I have the receipts." The evidence appears on the screen. Deposits, withdrawals, signatures. Christine's stomach twists as she spots her own forged name. The judge leans forward. "Mr. Brown, do you wish to respond?" Cody exhales slowly. "Those accounts were family support funds," he says. "If she forged signatures, she acted on her own." His lawyer finally bursts in, drenched from rain, begging the court for a recess, but the judge waves him down. "We're past delays." The accountant continues, explaining how she quit after realizing donations were being funneled into private investments under Robin's address. Christine feels heat rise in her chest, a mix of fury and pity. Robin, pale in the front row, won't meet anyone's eyes. The prosecutor turns toward her. "Mrs. Brown, did you know this was happening?" Robin hesitates. "Not exactly," she whispers. "He said it was to keep us safe if the world turned against us." Cody nods quickly, clinging to her words. "Exactly. Preparation, not theft." The prosecutor's tone hardens. "Preparation for what, Mr. Brown?" "Your family leaving you." The silence that follows is louder than thunder. The judge sighs. "Proceed." The accountant leaves the stand shaking, crossing herself as if exercising the memory. Then there is a witness none of us anticipated. Mary. She asked to testify voluntarily. The courtroom is abuzz. She's always been the quiet one, faithful even when her heart was shattered, but today her voice rings with steel. I stayed silent too long, she says. I thought obedience was faith, but faith isn't silence. It's courage. She hands over an old journal, its pages yellowed, full of Cody's handwritten plans, property divisions, disciplinary notes, schedules assigning each wife rotations of favor. The judge skims the page, eyebrows lifting. Rotations of favor. Mary nods. That's what he called nights, attention, even money. We weren't partners. We were shifts. The words land like stones. Cody's lawyer protests, claiming invasion of privacy, but the judge overrules. Christine feels tears pressed behind her eyes, not for loss, but for recognition. Every wife nods slightly. They remember those schedules. They remember thinking it was normal. The prosecutor closes in. Mr. Brown, do you deny creating these? Cody stays silent, eyes fixed on the floor. After that display, the judge calls for a short recess, but no one gets up from their seats. They just sit on the wreckage of their shared life. Reporters scribble furiously. Outside, it's raining. It washes the courthouse steps clean as if the sky really wanted to start over. By the time recess ends, the rain has dulled to a drizzle. The courthouse smells of damp paper and stale coffee. Slowly, everybody drifts back to his seat as if walking into the same nightmare that maybe recess could erase. Every step for Christine weighs a ton. Every heel click echoes off the marble floor to create her own kind of countdown that she can't stop. The judge's bench is bathed in fluorescent light, making her face into a somber statue. Let's get on with it, she says softly, and even her gavel appears less harsh now, as if there is still room for mercy in this room. The prosecutor clears her throat and calls the next witness. A boy with sandy blonde hair and eyes that are the mirror image of Christine's. He's her son, Paxton. He walks hesitantly, casting a glance at his father, then at his mother, then at Christine again. Her chest constricts. Nobody was ready for that. Say your name for the record, says the clerk. Paxton Brown, he answers in a thin voice. The courtroom falls silent. The prosecutor takes a step closer to him. Paxton, would you tell us about life at home before your mother left? He nods slowly. Dad was quiet, unless he was angry. The air changes. Cody's jaw works, but he doesn't interrupt. He would say that obedience was love, Paxton goes on. If Mom would disagree, he wouldn't speak to her for days. Sometimes he'd say he was telling us she was weak for disagreeing with him. Christine prays in silence, her eyes welling up but refusing to let the tears fall. The prosecutor speaks softly. Did he ever threaten you? Paxton pauses, not like that, but he said God would punish disobedience. I feared God for a long time. Gasp runs through the audience. Cody pushes forward, cracking voice. I taught you faith, not fear. The judge stops him, but the outburst has poisoned the atmosphere. The prosecutor thanks Paxton and excuses him. Christine's heart aches as she watches her son step down, his shoulders hunched like he's trying to disappear. The next witness is unexpected, a church elder, Brother Matheson, gray-haired and trembling as he swears in. I believed in Brother Brown. He begins, voice breaking. He said unity required discipline. I didn't question it until wives started leaving. He glances toward Christine. He wanted me to preach obedience as salvation, make the women stay. The judge's eyes sharpen. And did you? Matheson nods shamefully. For a time. Till he realized that faith built upon fear isn't faith at all. Cody sits steeled, color draining from his face. The prosecutor steps closer. Mr. Brown, did you instruct your church leaders to pressure your wives into compliance? Cody shakes his head violently. Never! Undefined. They twisted my words. But the documents on the screen betray him. Emails, sermon drafts, each more manipulative than the last. Undefined. The crowd murmurs. Reporters type furiously. Undefined, Christine feels both vindicated and hollow. Undefined. This was supposed to feel like justice, but it feels more like mourning. Undefined. The judge rubs her temples. Undefined. We'll recess again in 10 minutes, she says softly. Undefined. This is heavy for everyone. The prosecutor nods, closing her folder. The wives sit in silence, observing as Cody's cool breaks away inch by inch. Of course, outside the thunder grumbles once more as if heaven will not allow the day to end quietly. Tone serious. It's evidence, she says. filed anonymously, and it's against you, Mr. Brown. The courtroom gasps. Cody's eyes expand. His attorney struggles to reply, but the judge silences him. This evidence, she goes on, will be examined in the morning. Until then, court is adjourned. Cameras snap. The wives exchange shocked glances. Undefined Christine's heart pounds in her chest. Undefined. She doesn't know what's in that envelope, but something tells her this is only the beginning. As she leaves the courtroom, the far-off rumble of thunder sounds, like the sky itself knows what's coming. The morning creeps up gray and chill, a light that renders everything it touches faint and indistinct. And inside the courthouse, the temper of the day is equally wet, tense, brittle, expectant. Cody comes in first, preceded by his attorney and 2 bodyguards. His posture, once so commanding, now is defensive, as if he's striding through hot coals. The wives enter singly, faces resolute, eyes lined with exhaustion. The envelope from yesterday remains on the judge's bench, sealed by a red wax stamp, and everyone in the room is aware it holds the power to destroy what's left of their lives. The clerk slowly opens it, and a silence moves through the courtroom. A flash drive, and a brief letter in all capital letters. If truth matters, play this. The judge signals to the technician, and the screen comes to life. The video starts grainy security footage from what appears to be Cody's former office. He's pacing on the phone, his voice snapping. No, keep the money flowing. They don't have to know, he says. Just keep Robin's account clean. The wives share a look of shock. Mary puts her hand to her mouth. Christine's heart falls. The prosecutor stops the video, her tone even but acidic. Mr. Brown, would you care to tell us what we heard? Cody turns white. Out of context, he babbles. Business, church business. The prosecutor smiles coolly. Church business or money laundering in the guise of religion? Gasps spread through the room. The judge commands the video to go on, and it continues to display more. Talk, slips of paper, rumors of moving assets in anticipation of the wives getting their hands on them. Robin's name keeps popping up. Christine seethes, her heart pounding as she recalls the late-night hours Cody waved her concerns aside. She looks at the vacant chair where Robin should sit. Still nothing. The judge asks if anyone has a contact number, and Janelle pauses before answering. She texted me at dawn, she says, told me she couldn't handle what's ahead. The room grows tense. The prosecutor requests a brief recess, but the judge dismisses it. We continue, she says. Truth does not wait for comfort. The next witness is a financial analyst called by the prosecution. He describes transactions channeled through shell accounts in Robin's maiden name. Each disclosure hits like a hammer. Cody's attorney objects again and again, but the judge sustains him. Cody's grip is slipping away from him, and for the first time he appears lost. Christine can nearly feel sympathy, but then recalls the years of manipulation, the obedient sermons, the chill silences when she challenged him, and the sympathy dissolves into something harder, fiercer, determination. Outside, meanwhile, media trucks fill the steps. Headlines spin faster than the story can sustain itself. Sister wives' trial blows up with secret testimony. Journalists guess about the missing wife, about secret money, about betrayal in the name of religion. Behind closed doors, Cody finally gets his say. Everything I did was to protect my family, he asserts, voice growing louder. I built that trust, that home. I gave them everything. The prosecutor retorts suavely, and in return, you took everything back when they stopped obeying. The punchline rings hard. Christine turns away, her throat constricted. The judge takes a quick recess, and as everyone rises, a disturbance in the hallway breaks out. Robin has shown up. She's white, trembling, holding a manila folder. Cameras pop as she enters. Her gaze locks with Cody's, and something unreadable goes between them. Fear, perhaps, or betrayal. The judge brings the court back into session, and Robin asks to address the court without her lawyer present. I must speak the truth, she states, shaking. I can't keep lying. Cody's attorney protests, but she interrupts him. No, I owe them this. She opens the folder, and all it contains, bank statements and pen letters. He told me to sign everything, she says. He said it was temporary. He said the other wives wouldn't understand. Tears run down her face. But it wasn't temporary. It was a plan. Cody slams his fist on the table. Robin, stop. The judge glaring. Sit down, Mr. Brown. Robin goes on trembling. He threatened to cut us off too if I didn't comply. He took advantage of us all. The courtroom hums like a live wire. The prosecutor inches closer. Mrs. Brown, are you telling me that your husband bullied you into financial fraud? Robin nods. Yes. Cody slumps back, his world crumbling in real time. The judge directs an immediate review of evidence, and Cody's attorney asks to hold off, citing emotional trauma. Denied. The gavel rings again. Court will resume tomorrow for closing arguments. But as the crowd exits, Robin intercepts Christine. There's more, she breathes. I did not send that flash drive. Christine stands stock still. Then who did? Robin shakes her head. Someone who wants all of us ruined. That night, the wives meet privately in Christine's hotel suite. Papers cover the table, statements, transcripts, memories scattered like puzzle pieces. Janelle scrolls through her phone, frowning. I've been getting calls from blocked numbers. Someone's feeding information to the press. Mary sits quietly in the corner, eyes red. Maybe it's one of us, she says softly. Maybe we're not all innocent. The room falls silent. Outside, rain starts again, tapping against the window like nervous fingers. Christine leans forward. Whoever sent that video isn't after money. They want to destroy him, and maybe us too. They all exchange wary looks. Meanwhile, across town, Cody paces in his hotel room, phone pressed to his ear. You promised me this would never reach the court, he hisses. The voice on the other side is placid, masculine, recognizable. You swore to keep your wives in check, it says. Now we're both at risk. Cody's face sets. If I fall, you fall too. The line cuts off. He tosses the phone and breaks the lamp. The ring shatters through the suite like a threat. He collapses on the bed, gasping, and understands for the first time that he's not alone in this game. In Christine's room, the wives finally can breathe. Mary grasps Christine's hand. What do we do now? She asks. Christine gazes out at the city lights. Tomorrow, she says, we stop being his wives. We become witnesses. Janelle nods, a small, fierce smile spreading, but Robin appears uncomfortable. He's not finished, she whispers. He'll spin it. He always does. The clock ticks toward midnight, and a knock arrives at the door. Christine hesitantly opens it. No one is there. Only an envelope on the ground, just like the one from court. There is one picture inside, the 4 wives in a group shot smiling years before. On the back, in red ink, are 5 words. You think he's the villain? Christine's hands shake. She shows it to the others, and for the first time, they all look really scared. They lie awake until morning, each creak of the hallway a threat. In the morning, there is news that Cody's former business associate has absconded from the state with a chunk of the family fortune. The prosecutor threatens conspiracy. The judge orders an emergency hearing. The wives come to find the courtroom filled with reporters once more. Robin sits isolated, wringing her hands. Cody's attorney whispers frantically in his ear, but Cody's eyes are fixed on Christine. There is outrage there, but something else too, a hurt pride that won't stay buried. The judge comes in. Before we go on, she says, we have fresh evidence linking Mr. Brown to several phony accounts, but we don't know where it came from. The prosecutor moves forward. Your Honor, we think the whistleblower is within this family. Murmurs erupt. Cody accuses Christine. It's her. She's been scheming this for years. Planning what? Christine stands shaking with rage. My own heartbreak. Her voice falters. You stole everything. My faith, my family, my future, and you call me the betrayer? Tears well in her eyes, but she doesn't flinch. The courtroom is silent, people watching as the two finally confront each other, not as husband and wife, but as enemies. Cody opens his mouth to speak, but the judge cuts in. Enough. This court trades in evidence, not emotion. If there's more truth to come, it will show itself. Her words are heavy with implication. The day wears on into testimony, technical information, statistics that turn to blur, but underlying it all flows a current of fear. Each revelation is like yanking another thread from an unraveling tapestry. As the trial concludes, Christine looks again at Cody, his shoulders slumping, his eyes empty, and can't help but wonder if winning will ever taste like peace. Outside, cameras click once more, recording faces that once smiled in unison, now broken by reality. And as Christine moves away into the last of the light, a realization seizes her heart like a caution she cannot shake. This isn't the end of the trial. It's the beginning of something sinister. The courtroom is more oppressive the following morning, as if the very air is aware that something awful is about to shatter. The blinds are partly closed, bands of gray light creeping across the wood floor, and each intake of air seems to reverberate off the walls. Christine enters first, shoulders set, but heart shaking beneath. She's been waiting for this day for months, perhaps years, but she never expected it would hurt this badly. Cody is already there, standing by his lawyer, face pale, eyes rimmed red from sleeplessness. His voice, once commanding, now sounds like an echo that no one answers. "You wanted this trial," he mutters under his breath as she passes. "Now you've got it." Christine doesn't respond. She's past the point of arguing. Today isn't about revenge. It's about truth. And truth doesn't whisper. It roars. The judge calls the session to order, her tone calm but weary. "We are continuing the case of Brown versus Brown, financial and emotional misconduct," she says, her gavel striking softly like a heartbeat. The prosecutor rises. "Your Honor, we'd like to submit new evidence, recordings recovered from the defendant's personal storage." The entire courtroom stirs. Christine's pulse spikes. "Recordings?" The prosecutor touches a button, and the first of the tapes starts playing. Cody's voice rings through the room, even and menacing. A family has to remain together, even if fear maintains them in the correct position. The tone is rough like a recording, but the words cut through the air like a knife. Gasps percolate through the onlookers. Christine closes her eyes. She recalls that evening. She recalls the chill, the shaking, the way Robin attempted to shut him up. The prosecutor stops the tape. "Mr. Brown, can you describe the context?" Cody squirms uncomfortably. That was blown out of proportion. He blurts, "I was discussing spiritual harmony, not fear." The judge nods for the next clip. This one's worse. Cody's voice for a second time, low and furious. "If Christine goes, she goes for nothing. She owes me loyalty, not dollars." Christine's hands clench on the bench until her knuckles are white. The courtroom is paralyzed. The prosecutor interrupts the tape. "Your Honor, these tapes were legally procured as a result of the subpoena process. They demonstrate overt intent to control and manipulate." Cody thumps his fist gently on the table. "I was defending my family." The judge exhales. "From what, Mr. Brown?" His gaze flashes towards Christine, filled with ancient resentment. "From betrayal." The word is a curse. Robin squirms in the gallery, tears welling. The prosecutor pushes once more. "Mr. Brown, did you ever make family funds transfers into private accounts without your wife's permission?" He pauses. "It was all family money." "And you acknowledge the transfers?" "I'll admit to keeping us afloat." The judge's voice prickles. "That's not the question." Cody breathes through gritted teeth. For the first time, he appears genuinely cornered. Christine's eyes go to Mary and Janelle. Both women look straight ahead, expressionless faces, but telling silence after years of silent stamina. The prosecutor moves to Christine. "Mrs. Brown, do you want to testify?" She pauses, then rises, voice firm. "Yes." She steps up to the witness stand, her fingers shaking as she takes the oath. The air seems cramped, the lights blinding. "Mrs. Brown," the prosecutor asks gently, "why did you remain as long as you did?" Christine's throat constricts. "Because I felt that going away would mean I would be losing my family." "I thought love was giving up, but I was mistaken." Her voice trembles but becomes steadier. "Love doesn't keep score or require silence. Love listens, and for years, mine didn't." She looks at Cody. He refuses to look back. He convinced us that questioning him was questioning God. We lived in terror of letting him down, and he called it devotion. A murmur runs through the gallery. Cody's attorney protests, alleging emotional manipulation, but the judge sustains. Each scar does tell a tale, and today, hers at last gets to have its say. The courtroom is the battlefield now, each look, each breath charged with unseen sparks. Christine's words remain hanging there in the air, like smoke that won't disperse. The judge hasn't said anything yet, as if even justice itself requires a pause to get its head around what's been let loose. Cody remains still, eyes vacant, jaw clenched. Control was his shield for years. Now it's eroding bit by bit. Journalists murmur from the rear seats, pencil scribbling furiously to record every quiver, every sob. Christine sits on the witness stand, her fingers interlaced as if holding herself in place. The prosecutor advances again, this time in hushed tones. Mrs. Brown, did you ever feel threatened? The inquiry strikes more forcefully than any charge. Christine's lips open, but nothing escapes. At last, she breathes, "Yes." A hush of assent. "Unsafe how?" the prosecutor asks gently. Christine's voice quivers. Not physically, emotionally. "I was little in that house, little year by year." He never raised his hand. He didn't need to. His silence was punishment enough. Cody jerks his head back and forth, muttering to his attorney. But the room is watching her now, the woman who was once holding her family together, now dismantling the walls of her own prison. "I remember once," she goes on, her eyes glassy, "I asked why I wasn't enough. He said, 'A man needs variety to feel whole.' That night, I stopped believing I was part of his heaven." The gallery gasps, women wiping their eyes. Sometimes the most deafening heartbreak is whispered aloud at last for the first time. The prosecutor smiles pleasantly. "Thank you, Mrs. Brown." She goes back to her seat, heart racing, as the judge invites the defense. Cody's attorney rises reluctantly. "Your Honor, my client wishes to testify." Christine's stomach lurches. She recognizes that tone. When Cody is pinched, he scrunches up and it hurts more. The judge nods. Go on." Cody strides to the stand, his face a mixture of arrogance and desperation. His voice, that once commanded, shakes slightly. "I loved each of them," he starts. "I provided them with homes, children, security. I bore their weight." He glares at Christine. "And this is how I get repaid? By being labeled a tyrant?" Christine remains immobile, but the flames in her eyes speak volumes. The prosecutor interrupts. "Mr. Brown, no one coerced you into plural marriage, did they?" "No," Cody responds curtly, "but I obeyed what I thought was God's will." The prosecutor leans forward. "And God instructed you to dominate them? To guide them? Leadership requires strength," he barks. "Strengthen me, then." His voice rings in the courtroom. The judge scowls. "Mr. Brown, this is not a sermon. Address the facts." Cody swallows hard, gasping for air. "The facts are, they betrayed me. Christine departed and poisoned the others. I attempted to keep us intact. When blame is made a vocabulary, love loses how to use it." The prosecutor moves closer. "Is that the reason you transferred family property into your name? To hold things together?" He pauses. "I was attempting to guard what I created. Guard or own." The accusation strikes like a bolt. Cody's eyes blaze. "You don't know what it feels like to be forsaken." His voice breaks, and for the first time, the courtroom witnesses the weariness behind his anger. The judge lets out a sigh. "Mr. Brown, that will be all for now." He takes his seat, shoulders racked with a slight shiver. The room is tense enough to taste. Christine can sense the shared beat of all the witnesses watching. Decades of secrets, power, love, and betrayal unfolding before them. Outside, the rain begins again, beating against the windows like a slow, steady metronome ticking down to something inevitable. Truth doesn't finish stories. It starts the ones we were too scared to share. The courtroom seems to be holding its breath. Each chair, each desk, each individual appears frozen in time, anticipating the next moment to shatter. Christine sits, her hands folded firmly, still shaking from Cody's final tirade, her gaze upon the floor but her head reeling. The rain outside has come back in sheets, hammering against the courthouse roof like a warning drumbeat, a beat that reflects the tension within. Cameras flash occasionally, reporters write madly, and the gallery is electric with a silence that seems ready to burst into flames at any moment. The judge pushes her glasses up and calls the session to order. We will go forward with final witness testimony and closing arguments. This is a courtroom that demands clarity, integrity, and complete transparency. Cody slumps forward, looking ill but attempting to hold on to the appearance of being in charge. The prosecutor summons the first witness, a former staffer, someone who worked behind the scenes quietly, unseen, unheard until today. She moves hesitantly forward, holding a folder, her voice firm but with an undercurrent of terror. "I saw transfers," she starts. "Money transferred without the wife's knowledge. Directions were clear. Secrecy at any cost." Gasps run through the courtroom. Cody's jaw clenches. His attorney whispers in his ear, but his eyes are on Christine. Christine swallows hard. When concealed realities come to the surface, even the most solid walls come tumbling down. The witness goes on, detailing coded emails, financial moves, and backroom talks where Cody rationalized what he was doing as family protection, while distancing each wife emotionally. Robin sits stiffly, hands locked together tightly. Mary's eyes shine with tears. Janelle fidgets uncomfortably. The courtroom narrows around Cody as the stakes accumulate. The prosecutor moves forward, voice even but resolute. Mr. Brown, did you ever stop to think that by controlling money and affection as well, you were hurting your family? Cody's fists ball up. I was protecting them. I loved them. His voice breaks on the final word. Christine's eyes smolder. Loving isn't like fearing, she mutters to herself. Love and control are sometimes two sides of the same wing, and only one can live. The judge waves in the next witness, a counselor who had interviewed the wives separately over years, chronicling the insidious loss of their autonomy. She testifies of fear, of shame, of the unobtrusive manner in which obedience was exacted, and dissent punished. Every sentence hits hard, a mirror held up to years of stifled pain. Cody's eyes go wide, his hands shake, but he sits tight, impotent under the assault of testimony that paints him not as a defender, but as a manipulator. The gallery stirs. The prosecutor turns to Christine. Mrs. Brown, do you have anything further to present before the court goes into closing? Christine stands up slowly. The room falls silent. She takes a deep breath, bracing herself against decades of pain. I remained silent for too long. She starts. I believed in faith, in family, in love, but obedience born of fear is not love. And at what price? Our lives, our children, our hearts is too steep. I am here to declare truth matters, and it is finally here. The courtroom remains silent. Cody's face, white and pinched, moves through rage, disbelief, and something approaching regret. The judge nods. Thank you, Mrs. Brown. Your statement will be considered. Courage is measured not by absence of fear, but by the willingness to speak when trembling. Undefined. Outside, rain begins to ease, the clouds breaking slightly, sunlight glimmering on wet streets, a quiet promise that clarity is coming. Undefined. The final witness is called. Paxton, now older, steps forward. Undefined. His voice is steady. Undefined. I've seen both sides, he says, and the one I admire is the one who discovered her voice and not the one who imposed silence. Cody winces. Christine's lips clench, controlling the tears that threaten to engulf her. The prosecutor recapitulates the evidence, interweaving fiscal malfeasance, emotional intimidation, and decades of silent endurance, each strand supporting the next. Cody's attorney attempts a final appeal for mitigation, focusing on intent, passion, and religion. But even his words ring false against the gravity of the truth now revealed. Undefined. The judge summons closing arguments. Undefined, Christine remains seated, sensing the air throb with the whispers of decades' worth of secrets finally out in the open. Undefined, Cody's gaze catch hers for a single shining instant, a glance brimming with all that has not been said, all that has been lost. Main loop. The judge rises, ready to deliver a verdict, and the whole courtroom leans forward by du show lieu. And just as the gavel is about to fall, the judge glances over her glasses and speaks to the room, voice firm, nearly reverent. This case is not just about law, undefined. It is a tale of faith, family, and the price of silence, undefined. But before I make my decision, her gaze scans the courtroom. Charles, I want to ask you all, what would you have done instead? And now the question isn't only for the court, it's for every heart watching. When truth is buried inside love, do you dare to uncover it?